Join me in painting an easy watercolor winter scene. We will be using the blooming technique in this painting. This is the small sketch needed for this painting. You can pause the video and sketch it onto your watercolor paper. I start by mixing cerulean blue with small amount of cadmium red to get a gray shade, which I then dilute with more water, which is used for painting the background. While painting the background, be careful not to paint inside the sketched portion. Using the same light value of gray shade, I paint the foreground and then I reduce the value by adding more water to my brush. I go over the snow area to make it slightly wet. There are some excess watercolor pigment collected near the edges of the paper. I absorb this using a damp brush. After that, using a medium value of gray shade, which is a mix of cerulean blue with small amount of cadmium red, I paint the background of the snow-covered cabins. After painting the backgrounds for the snow-covered cabins, I then use that same medium value to make some marks on the foreground, which is still wet. Then I tilt the board sideways to allow any excess pigment to flow towards the sides, which I then wipe away using a waistcloth. When I use a wet brush on wet paper, the water from the brush pulls the pigment out of its place, creating a cauliflower effect, also known as blooming effect. I repeatedly apply my wet brush to the wet surface to create additional blooms, which helps depict the snow-covered branches on a tree. Next, I mix burnt umber with equal amount of ultramarine to create a gray shade, which I use to paint the tree trunk and its branches. By mixing burnt umber with small amount of ultramarine, I obtain a dark brown shade, which I use to paint the walls of the cabin. Using a clean damp brush, I soften the edges of the cabin walls to help them merge with the snow. Next, I'm using a dark brown shade, which is a mix of burnt umber with small amount of ultramarine. I use it to create the sticks in the snow. These sticks resemble fences and are lined up closely together, which adds interest in our scene. We have reached the end of this painting process. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I look forward to seeing you in another video. Until then, take care and bye bye from Prema.